video, we are going to see about heuristic methods of teaching. It was developed by Professor Armstrong. It is usually called as pupil-centered method. It is derived from the Greek word heuriko, that means to discover or to find places, students themselves, or it is also called as discoveries. In the words of Professor Armstrong, it is called as heuristic methods of teaching or methods which involve our placing students as far as possible in the attitude of the discovery, the method which usually involves the finding of instead of being merely told about things. It is based on the 5 principles. The first one is principle of freedom, the second one is principle of logical thinking, third one is principle of activity, the fourth one is principle of self-thinking and self-study, and the last one is principle of purposeful experience. This method sets or teaches a problem for the students and then stands aside while they discover the answer. The following steps are to be followed in the heuristic method. The first one is planning, the second one is execution, and third one is conclusion. In the planning, we are just undergoing creating an objectives. The second one, we are going to identify a problem. The third one is arriving for appropriate solutions for the problem. The second step is execution. In the execution, perceiving and observing for accurate results and recording of the results of observed has been taken place in the execution. And third one is the stage of conclusion, formulation of a hypothesis and identification or arriving the accurate solution will be taken place in the conclusion part. In this part, the characteristics of a teacher in the heuristic method is first one, the teacher acts as a treasure of knowledge, develop a curious and investigate spirit to students, genius in art of questioning, friend and good guide, and the last one is plan and devise problems. This method is used in the basic in education to help the students discover facts about nature, help them think and work independently. So what's the major role of a teacher and the responsibility of the teacher in heuristic methods are to develop sensitivity to children and to the meaninglessness of the behavior. In this method, the teacher should avoid the temptation to tell the right answer to save time. The teacher should be convinced that road to scientific thinking takes time. The children should never be exposed to ridicule for their suggestions of possible answer, otherwise they will show a strong tendency to stop suggestions. For success of this method, a teacher should act like a guide and should provide only that much guidance as is rightly needed by the student. He or she should be sympathetic and courteous and should be capable enough to plan and devise problems for investigation by pupils. He or she should be capable of good supervision and be able to train the pupils in a way that he himself becomes dispensable. Next, we are going to see about the merits and demerits of the heuristic method. The merits are learning by doing is the first merit of the heuristic method. The students can solve the problems by themselves. It helps to develop the scientific attitude among students. In this, the students become self-dependent and self-reliant. Each pupil gets individual attention from the teacher. They retain knowledge for the long time and training in the scientific method has been takes place. The demerits are time-consuming, impractical for all students and average teachers, extra work needed for teachers, and costly. These are the methods which has been taken place in the heuristic method of teaching. It is one of the successful scientific method for teaching of biological science.
These are. Thank you.